Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my breakdown of the Miami Dolphins. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've got one simple question for you. Do you want to talk football? Because if so, you're in the right place. There's this button right around here. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Now, here's how this video is going to go. I'm going to break down what I like about the Miami Dolphins. Then I'm going to talk about what I don't like about the Miami Dolphins. But stick around to the very end where I break down the Vegas over-under and if I am going to put action down on the Dolphins. So, let's start off with what I like about the Miami Dolphins. First thing I like is what the Miami Dolphins did in the offseason. I love how they attacked free agency. Basically, if you're going to play if you have a style of defense where you want man corners, go out and get a man corner. So they spent a lot of money on Byron Jones, and this is big because I did a video breaking down the Detroit Lions. They run a similar style defense. They want to play man, but they're using a rookie. I don't think you can do that. So spending big money on Byron Jones, I thought was a smart move and a good move. Even if it doesn't pan out, I like the fact that they were aggressive. Just go for it, and that's how you win games. You also get Kyle Van Noy and Shaq Lawson from division rivals. You needed some help on defense, so get good players from division rivals. Kyle Van Noy is very important to what New England did. And Shaq Lawson, a former first-round pick, didn't really pan out. But I think in this system and a change of scenery will do him a world of good. You also got Eric Flowers, Emmanuel Ogbah, Jordan Howard, some really good players. But Eric Flowers I want to touch base on real fast. This is a guy, he was a 9th overall pick in the draft. They moved him from tackle to guard, really started to show that talent. And here's another guy, he went to college at the U, so he comes back home. I love everything that they did in the offseason and how they really improved their team. Even if it doesn't pan out, I like the fact that they had a blueprint and were very aggressive in trying to get that blueprint. So I love what the Dolphins did in the offseason attacking free agency. Second thing I liked is kind of goes along the same pattern was the offseason, but they had 1 million draft picks. Now, they didn't have 1 million draft picks, but everybody knows they had 3 number 1s and 2 number 2s. Players that didn't want to play in the system. They got rid of a starting left tackle, a former top 10 defensive back, top 10 pick in Minkah Fitzpatrick because, they didn't want to go along with what the Dolphins were doing. Instead of trying to put in a square peg in a round hole, hey, let's get rid of these guys. Let's bring in our guys. We'll go ahead and draft our players. We'll build our team our way. I absolutely love how they do this. Even if these picks don't pan out, there was talk about tank for Tua. They didn't really tank. I'm going to touch base on that here in just a second. They still get their guy. They draft players that they like. There is a definite plan and a definite course of action into the way that the Miami Dolphins want to build this team, and I absolutely love how they're attacking it, and I just think that nothing but good things are going to come. And the third and final thing that I'm going to touch base on that I love what the Dolphins did was how they finished 2019. Remember that tank for Tua talk? People kept on saying that the Dolphins are going to tank. They're going to go 0-16. I actually was a lot higher on the Dolphins than most people. I actually thought they were going to be a halfway decent team. And they were kind of sort of. They had that really rough start. They started 0-7, but they finished 5-4, including beating New England in New England to take the bye away from the Patriots. Of course, the Chiefs got the bye, ended up winning the Super Bowl. Chiefs fans, if the Chiefs are the 3 seed, New England's the 2 seed, do the Chiefs still win the Super Bowl? It's an interesting question. Winning Super Bowl is a 2 seed and a 3 seed, much more difficult. Of course, everything's changed now. Only the 1 seed's going to get the bye, but that's another story for another day. Bottom line, here's what I like about the Miami Dolphins, the way that they attacked free agency, how they attacked the draft. And also remember, they didn't trade up for Tua. A lot of people thought that they were going to go up to either 2 or 3. They didn't have to. They stayed at 5. They got Tua. And then how they finished 2019 was extremely impressive. So let's talk about what I don't like about the Miami Dolphins. First thing I don't like about the Miami Dolphins, and I want to be clear, I like their draft. I gave them a B+ grade. And I think that they did a great job in the draft and a great job acquiring draft picks. But the thing I don't like is that going into the draft, all everybody talked about was those 3 number 1s and those 2 number 2s, and if they're going to trade up and what are they going to do. Those first 5 picks, every single one of them are projects in one way or another. Now, Tua was my number 1 quarterback if he's healthy. You don't know that. All right, Austin Jackson. This wasn't Tyron Smith. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tyron Smith went to USC. He was a right tackle, but he was so athletic, such a almost a can't miss project, that when Dallas took him at 9th overall, I believe it was 9, nobody really batted an eye. Like, well, he's got all the tools to be a franchise left tackle. Austin Jackson's not quite that type of a prospect, but he was only 20 when he was drafted. He played on the right side. He's going to play left tackle in the NFL. Our Lads does not have him starting. ESPN does. I thought it was a little rich for 18, but keep in mind, if this is a guy who's your starting left tackle for the next 12 years and he goes to a couple Pro Bowls, it's a great pick. His potential is really good. He has everything you want in a franchise left tackle. So, but Noah Igbenogene, and I'm probably butchering that, the former wide receiver, switched to defensive back, raw. Robert Hunt, guard out of Louisiana Lafayette. And then Raquan Davis, one of my favorite prospects. If his motor's running, he's really a top 15 player, but his motor was hot and cold. So bottom line, it's kind of funny because I did a video on the Giants, and you got Anthony Thomas and Xavier McKinney, the first 2 picks on the Giants. They're day 1 starters, and they're going to contribute, and they're going to help right away. You got 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 5 picks in the first, 24, so it'll be 56 picks. None of them are going to help you day 1. Now, ESPN, for some reason, calls Robert Hunt a guard, but then they list him as starting right tackle. I don't get that. So I don't think Robert Hunt's a day 1 starter either. So bottom line, I like the draft. I like the Dolphins draft, but they don't have anybody who's going to step in day 1 as a day 1 starter. But all these guys have all the potential to be really great picks down the line. I think Tua, Austin Jackson, Noah Igbenogene, I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. He will play some. He's just not going to be a starting cornerback. He'll play some in nickel and on special teams. I'm not sure about Robert Hunt and Raquan Davis, how much they're going to impact. They are going to play some this year. But bottom line, when you have this many picks in the first 2 rounds, you should have a day 1 starter. The Dolphins do not. Second thing I don't like about the Miami Dolphins, I think the expectations are really high. I'm hearing AFC East champs going to the playoffs. Now here's the thing. Should the expectations really be that high? I just talked about how you got all these high draft picks. All of them are prospects. None of them are finished products. None of them are really going to be day 1 starters. You have a new offensive coordinator. You have a new defensive coordinator. And plus, what is a continuing theme, no minicamp, no OTA. So you got a lot of free agents, a lot of draft picks, a new offensive and defensive scheme. Keep in mind, then you have no OTAs, no mini camps. It's not quite as bad as getting a new head coach, but keep in mind you got a new offensive and defensive coordinator. Now keep in mind, Brian Flores is probably going to keep the same style of defense. He just wants a different voice. But Chan Gailey, I think, is an improvement in the offensive coordinator. You have some experience, but this is still kind of a fluid work in progress. Anybody who thinks that the Dolphins are a finished product, I think you're a little delusional, but they're doing everything right. I cannot emphasize this enough. They're doing everything right. If I had a bad team, I would want them to build exactly like Miami is doing. Attack free agency aggressively, attack the draft, get the players that you want, and go forward. It's just not a finished product, and I think anybody who thinks that they have something that they can go into the playoffs with this year, I think you're going to be really mistaken. So this is still a work in progress. And third and final thing I don't like, and I kind of touched base on this already, but quarterback and left tackle are real question marks. Tua's probably not going to be your day 1 starter. I'd be shocked if he was. You still got Josh Rosen on the roster, but more than likely you're going to have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's 108 years old. I'm being a little facetious here, but I know Ryan Fitzpatrick knows he's not the long-term answer. He's a stopgap. The question is how much is he going to play this year? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 8 weeks? Is it until the bye? If I remember right, it's week 11. I'll go back and I'll check this in a second, but They even benched him last year. Now, he did end the season well. I'm not saying he didn't, but this isn't the guy you want. And then you either got 20 or 21-year-old Austin Jackson, very raw guy. He's going to be your starter. Or Julian Davenport, who's a stopgap until Austin Jackson is ready to be your starter. And he's the guy on your blind side. Two most key positions on offense. And if you follow me, you know how important I think the left tackle position is. Lots of question marks. So that really bothers me going into 2020. Now in 2021, I think it's great. 2020, this bothers me. And I'm breaking down Dolphins for 2020, not the future. So to recap the top three things I don't like about the Miami Dolphins. I don't like that their top 5 draft picks, the 3 first-round picks and the 2 second-round picks are all prospects. None of them are solid day one starters. I did a video on the Giants, Andrew Thomas, Xavier McKinney. Day one starters improved the team on the offensive and defensive side. Can't say that about Dolphins at all. Did the Dolphins have a better draft than Giants? I think so, but they're not ready for this year. Not right away. Second thing, expectations. I think I keep hearing Dolphins playoffs, Dolphins AFC East champs. No. You have a new offensive and defensive coordinator, a lot of free agents, a lot of draft picks. It's going to take some time for everything to kind of click. All right, so temper your expectations for 2020. 2021, if you want to talk playoffs, I'd have no problem with that. But for this year, temper your expectations. And then quarterback and left tackle, big question marks. I don't know if you just throw Austin Jackson in there day one or have him learn a little bit. He eventually sometime during the season should be the starter on the left side, but he's going to have some growing pains, raw prospect. And then your quarterback, you either have Ryan Fitzpatrick or you have Tua. This Josh Rosen, who's still on the roster, he played all this year while you're trying to get Tua ready to be your starter. Interesting questions to have. So what did I say? Stick around to the very end where I talk about the Vegas over-under. And if I am going to put action out on the offense, I want to be clear. When the over-unders came out before the draft, it was 6. And I was thinking it was too low. I think it should have been 6.5, maybe even 7. And I was really high on the Dolphins. I look at how teams finished the season, how they did in the offseason, how they do in the draft, and everything was looking the Dolphins' way. But when the draft came out and they drafted all these projects, it's kind of tempering my expectations. Then I kind of look at this schedule. They play the NFC and the AFC East. This schedule is tough. This is a tough schedule, okay? I mean, you start the season at New England. They're going to get some revenge, so watch out. And then the last 4 games of the season, home games against Kansas City, New England, and then road games, Vegas and Buffalo. That's tough. Your bye week, week 11, that may be where you're getting Tua ready to start. So having playing those 6 games at the Jets and then, hopefully a winnable game against the Bengals first of 3 home games to kind of get them used to being the starting quarterback. That could be what's going on. But, man, I was all ready to jump over the over on this because I thought 6 was a good number. Maybe it's a little low. Right now, using the William Hill app in Iowa, things are still fluid. I may end up going to Vegas to start kickoff the season. I don't think so. So that's why I'm saying the William Hill app. Right now, over 6 is negative 135. So 135 wager will win you 100. The under is plus 115. So a $100 wager will win you 115. Got to look tongue-tied. I'm looking at this schedule and I'm looking at this team. I was all ready to jump all over the over. Now I look on this. I might put some action on the under. I might take advantage of 115. Do I think the Dolphins can win 6 games? I think if these players get ready to play and everything works out, then the talent's easily there for a 6-win team. I just don't see how you're going to get everybody on the same page right away. And this is a brutal schedule. The AFC and NFC West, you're looking at, the San Francisco 49ers, which of course went to the Super Bowl. The Rams, which were close, the Cardinals, which got a lot better, and then you got Seattle Seahawks, which, won a playoff game, and then, of course, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who did win the Super Bowl. The Broncos and Raiders got significantly better. I think the Chargers are an interesting team. I think they're better than Miami. I'm pretty solid. I think I'm going to stick with the under here. Am I going to put action on them? Probably not. I'm kind of going to avoid it. I was really high on Miami before the draft, but after the draft, after all these projects, I'm going to lay off. I'm give you a little warning here. 2021, watch out for the Dolphins. I think they're going to be a really good football team. 2020, I think it's still going to be a work in progress. 6 is pretty accurate because that's what I'm looking at, 5-6 win team. But truth be told, this schedule's brutal. I mean, they got a home game against Cincinnati, an early game at Jacksonville they could win, but I don't see them getting 7. I really don't. So when I do my final bets, we'll see about Miami. I originally was going to jump all over the Dolphins and over. Now I'm leaning towards the under, but more than likely I'll probably avoid the Dolphins altogether. So listen, hey, I want to hear from you. This is my opinion. This is what I think, but drop a comment below and let me know what you think because you're the important one. And hey, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Even if you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs up anyway, or give me a thumbs down. If you think this is a terrible video, I don't mind the criticism, but I do want to hear from you. Share this video with your friends. Have a great weekend, and Monday, I'm going to break down the Los Angeles Chargers. So hey, have a great weekend. I will see you Monday.